I can have my way with one, I'd rather hear them in the group.
This week, it's been a long one, to say the least. Now, I don't want to talk too much during this lift, but we do have a special guest here in town this week, so you guys know what that means. Hey, yo, Johnny, spin that shit. Crazy. You would think getting stronger would be such a blessing, which it is, but it's also a curse. My body doesn't have enough time to recover with the new stimulus and load that my body's now able to create. It was literally just a couple weeks ago where I couldn't even lift 50% of what I'm able to lift now. So like over the last 2 weeks, my body has been going through hell and back, just trying to recover, uber fatigued, exhausted. So I gotta try to sometimes put my ego aside and not try to focus on progressing as dramatically. Like just this week on T-bar rows, I've been able to do 25 pounds more and 4 reps more than what I was able to do just last week. So it's crazy how quickly my body's been responding ever since I've been back on PEDs, but at the same time, my body's going through it. All right, guys, so I feel like it's been a while since we last caught up, and I know these vlogs are, few and far in between, but, a lot of things have been going on in my life, and I feel like I gotten asked the same question, pretty consistently, really since I started to juggle a lot of different responsibilities, and I kind of answered it the same way, but I feel like lately it's been a little bit more multi-layered, and I wanted to just open up a little bit more about this, man, because I feel like everybody needs an outlet, you know what I mean? Like, for this camera, sometimes it's so nice to just simply kind of get your thoughts together, put it together, and just kind of see it back. I don't know how else to explain it unless you picked up the camera, but you kind of get a calm, once you kind of piece the words together. But this is going to be one take. I'm not going to overspeak, hopefully. But like I said, man, lately in my life, things have been hectic. And I've been getting the question, for years of how do I manage all of the things I have going on in my life, whether it's coaching, whether it's, my personal life, my wife being pregnant, bodybuilding in my own journey, while helping others get to theirs, manifests, social media content, podcast, everything. And so many of the new projects that we're investing so much time, effort, and energy into, how do I allocate the necessary time, and I used to just simply say I try to master my schedule, which is 100% true, but honestly, the reality is during a lot of times we bite off more than we can chew, and then we just fucking chew it. I know you guys like that one. It's been a while that we had to spin that shit, but I told you guys we had a special guest. Hold on. Say what's up.
We back home, baby.
We're back. I also told you guys things have been a little bit more stressful, and I feel like I've been not necessarily wearing the stress the best. Obviously there's a lot going on in my life right now, a lot of moving pieces. Businesses are doing well. but with that comes a lot of added stress and a lot of moves that has to be made, and coaching in itself is probably the most hectic it's been in a good way, but at the same time, when you're dealing with so many other people's emotions, it's sometimes hard to, I'm internalizing it a lot, but I love my jobs, but at the same time, it's just, there's certain periods that I feel like I can feel all of that pressure on me, and sometimes we just got to find an outlet to let that out, and the gym has been amazing for it, but sometimes we just got to mix it up, and that's what we're getting ready to do. We have some stress to let out.
What are you gonna think about in there?
Brandon Hendrickson.
I just wanna feel making music in the studio, write a couple songs, maybe hear them on the radio.
Oh my God, that feels so good.
Tired. That was worse than the workout.
I had so much sweat under this suit. And lately, I just kind of felt like an overwhelming feeling. And I always tell myself, and I'm blessed, right? Because I'd rather have or be overwhelmed than underwhelmed. But at the same time, being overwhelmed can weigh on you. I feel like when it comes to my coaching business, I have been such a passionate coach, and I love this shit. I wake up with a passion every day to help people change their lives. I know that sounds cliche, but I truly, like, everyone knows me. I wake up at 6 a.m. every single morning to do my client check-ins. Why? Not because I have to, because I want to, right? But at the same time, it's not easy juggling so many different emotions from the coaching perspective, and sometimes that weighs on you. And then with Manifest, that's literally a massive passion project of mine, and just feeling like I can be doing more to maximize it, that weighs on you. And I'm trying to bite off more than I can chew sometimes to try to make up for lost times or make the future as big as what I know it can be in my head. And then obviously my personal life, making sure that my wife feels secure, happy, the baby is healthy, going through the doctor's appointments, moving my training schedule around to fit, the crazy life. And then of course the new training, I'm back in the bodybuilding, I'm eating all of my meals, I'm doing, what I need to do in terms of, my check-ins, cardio, everything, like everything is feeling like at times it's almost can't fit in a day. And I try to make it fit. Not to mention the content and everything else, because that's overwhelming in itself, just picking up the camera sometimes, right? Again, sometimes I feel like I bite off more than I can chew, but I think today was a good representation of sometimes just trying to get that stress out. Gym to me is the therapy. Seeing and creating content is therapy, and going and smashing things at times is therapy. And, it was one that I feel like it was needed, and, just to kind of put the phone down, limit the anxiety, just swing a bat and just smash things. It was nice.
Tampa Bay's good because they have Baker Mayfield, and that man is a dog. But a lot of their wins potentially are inflated based off of who they played, and they didn't play them well. So if the Eagles come out and play how they should play, and don't play down like we always do, it could be a fucking blowout, but it's not going to be. I'm nervous.
Now I'm ready. This is a crazy game too. You got 2 3-0 teams, straight dogs of quarterbacks going head to head. But like I said, if the Eagles show up the way they're supposed to, we should be walking away with the dub. Every Eagles game that I've been to in person, we've lost. Every time.
Not today.
Not today. Today, all changes.
Oh, we blocked the punt.
Block their punt. Throw it. Go. Woo!
Got him! You can't stop him!
I know there's a lot of people out there who probably are sitting there saying, like, you have to be so closed off. And I've heard this so many times in my career, even from my own mentors, you know, and that if you want to be good in something or great in something, you really have to be all in. You have to give 0% to everything else. And I just could never get behind that message, man. I couldn't. I get it. I get it to a degree that you have to sacrifice heavily to make it to a level that is elite, you know, but at the same time, I don't see how, you know, people can live their lives like that when they have other responsibilities around them. You know, I feel like if you can give what's needed and allocate time during that time, and you know, you be efficient and you move on to the next thing, you can do a lot of these things. And it might not be at the 100% during different seasons, but I really do feel like you don't have to just be a hermit when it comes to bodybuilding, you know? And I think a lot of this that has been on my shoulders lately has kind of like made me question on whether I'm doing enough for bodybuilding. Am I doing enough for this? Am I doing enough for that? Like spreading myself too thin, you know, and there's no doubt. Sometimes I am. There's 100%, you know, but at the same time, you know, I love this shit. And sometimes you just need to find outlets and ways to kind of recenter yourself and get back on track, because like I said, you would rather be overwhelmed in life than underwhelmed. I've been underwhelmed and I will never go back or never trade this for that, you know, but at the same time, this is the conversation sometimes that's not necessarily talked about, because, you know, as a coach and as a business owner and as a bodybuilder, I want to, you know, put on my Superman cape and just wear it and, you know, put a smile on my face. But at the same time, sometimes that's just not the reality. But like I said, I wouldn't trade this in for the world. Sometimes I just can't forget to breathe a little bit. And that's what today was.